Hey there guys, Noah here, and welcome back to another Vanguard discussion video. Today I want to kind of talk about something that, this isn't necessarily doom and gloom, but this was just something that was recently brought up by WCC Kai's post on Twitter. So if you want to go and follow the thread, definitely go check it out over on there. I'll leave a link in the description below. But he asked, for the premium players that are out there, if premium ceased to exist as a format, would you play Vanguard still? And a lot of people still would, but a lot of them would also quit in that moment. So I want to talk about what I'd personally do and kind of where I would see Vanguard going as in terms of an overall direction if they killed off premium. This is 100% my opinion on the matter, meaning if you don't agree with me, let me know in the comment section and just let me know your takes as well, because I'm actually kind of curious for the sake of, hearing other people's opinions. So let's get into it. So if they axed premium, I personally would still play Vanguard, but I would not be nearly as invested as I would be as before it. And the primary reason is I really love premium. I don't think you guys have noticed or anything, but this has been primarily a premium format channel. And I like talking about premium. I love discussing premium. And so for me personally, if they axed premium, I probably would stop doing Vanguard YouTube altogether and probably focus on Pokemon instead. And that would probably be where I would be at personally. Because truth be told, I'm not the world's biggest fan of Standard, even despite the fact that they've done a lot to really make it interesting. The energy mechanic, ride deck, those are just amazing quality of life upgrades to Vanguard that I admit I get a lot out of mileage out of, but I know for a lot of people they'd be kind of just hesitant to get back into Standard after being so used to premium for so long. And I feel like a lot of these sets, especially the Stride deck sets, really do not translate all that well into premium outside of one or two cards. And so that's kind of the reason why I kind of understand why this post was brought up in the first place, is because really outside of one or two sets a year, we really don't get dedicated premium support. And so I think this is mostly just due to the fact that Japan isn't really as invested into premium like how we are in the West. And it becomes more apparent when you notice that the premium deck sets, while they did well here in the English market, Japanese market-wise, they did poorly. And I would not be surprised if eventually down the line, maybe not next year, but sometime down the line in the near future, that they would say, okay, we are going to make English exclusive premium product. If you guys from Japan want this, let us know. And I would definitely see that more or less happening. And you guys can tell me in the comment section if I'm crazy on that, because I think there is an actual market and a general consensus that people want to play premium in the English format, even despite the fact that there are a lot of minute interactions and problems. And I think, just the idea that there's a lot more player interaction in between turns is just what makes premium very appealing. I also like the idea of, hey, all of these cards that have released throughout the years, you could actually still use them in premium if you really want to. Or you could just build off of what Standard decks have been kind of meta relevant, and just kind of build off from that. And I've always liked that overall approach. It's kind of the reason why for a while I wasn't too bothered by V, despite the fact that in itself V Premium had a lot of problems. The V format in general had a lot of problems that eventually translated into Premium being a fucking hellscape, but that's really beside the point, right? I think overall in general, if they axed premium, I feel like a lot of people would just quit outright and go do something else. Myself personally, like I said, I probably would go and play Pokemon and commit to that and make content for Pokemon. But that's kind of beside the point. I think that right now, especially considering that a lot of Grassroots tournaments, specifically for Vanguard, do pretty well with their premium numbers. I would argue somewhat better than what Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments are currently doing. Like, if you guys know the post, if you've seen it on Twitter, you would know that Yu-Gi-Oh's not in a good spot. It might actually get overtaken by One Piece, just because it's always been in a tier 0 format, And it's funny because Vanguard as a whole has been, on a rise and decline, kind of up and down throughout the years. And so it's just kind of funny how we're at a point where we're actually debating whether or not if premium's still going to be a thing. And I definitely believe it will. But for those of you who are concerned, no. I definitely believe that premium will be a thing. It will always be a thing. Because I think there are a lot more people who've been dedicated to the game for so long that they can't see themselves not playing premium. You know what I mean? But I would understand if they only did it like once a year, just consistently, without it just being direct standard support, you know? But with that being said, I do see another instance, and this is just me kind of spitballing at this point, where they eventually introduce energy into premium, kind of similarly to how they kind of made, I don't know, it's weird, because in the Italian format, before it got axed, they did introduce the ride deck in the middle of G out of all things, so not the best idea, but it was kind of interesting. And it kind of brought up this idea is, how do we make premium more appetizing to players? I definitely think if they actually included the ride deck, it would be weird because you would have to do a massive ban list. Because, dear God, having a ride deck in premium would be absolutely insane. It would give a lot of consistency to certain decks that just do not fucking need it. This would make DI just instantly tier 1 without question. Because they would always be able to ride NLK and do their bullshit. And so, you know, it kind of just begs the question, where do you go from there? There would have to be a massive ban list, and so on and so forth. So that's why I don't think a ride deck would be possible in premium. However, what I do see them doing is introducing energy. Similarly to how they did with Messiah, if they just sat there and said, you know this vanilla that people were running back at the beginning of G era, because they had legit no other strat options whatsoever, and it was just there as a placeholder. What if we just took that card and gave it an ability that allowed you to gain the energy crest when you rode up to grade 1? Kind of like how with Messiah, you actually, if you went second, you get the Guardian ticket or whatever. That would be kind of interesting. I would actually be down for that, because the only problem with it, though, is that it would have to be a box topper. Just make it a box topper for that specific premium set for the year, so that way we don't have a similar issue to how we did with Harmonix Messiah, to where Harmonix Messiah has finally started to calm down a bit. Like, it's just baffling that that happened in the first place, but that's beside the point. That's why I definitely believe that premium can continue, but they would have to be very cautious of how they go about it. I definitely see a world where they just axe premium in Japan and just exclusively go double down on it in the West. Making English exclusive product would be kind of a nice way to mitigate some of the backlash that they've gotten throughout the years about not having a whole lot of premium support. And I think the only reason why they didn't do a whole lot this year for premium is because they really wanted to focus on Divines. And I think that's fine. Because then next year, you know that something is going to come around and it's going to break the meta and stuff, and just going to be fun. But let me know your takes in the comment section below. I know toward the end I was kind of spitballing, and it's not necessarily for padding, it's just because I just felt like talking about random stuff. But let me know in the comment section, would you still play Vanguard if premium was axed, if you play premium? And would you just still play standard at that point, or would you just go and do something else? Until next time, this is Noah, and I will catch you guys later. Bye, everyone.